Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. This is Sketchbook Sunday, but it's a little bit different because we're actually going to be doing real time today. I started this drawing a few days ago. I was using some Derwent Signature pencils, which are an older discontinued pencil that I wanted to play with. And I also have some Prismacolor pencils here, but you can use whatever pencils you like. I'm working on Pastelmat paper that a viewer had sent me. Her name is Mimi. Thank you very much. It's like a cardstock with this flocked type feeling to it. It's called Pastelmat by Claire Fontaine, and this is the first time I've played with it. So I've got a few different colors I can try, and yeah, I'm just kind of playing with it. What I think I want to do is add a little bud like this onto the composition. This is from the Artist Photo Reference book, and this is the flower edition from Northlight Books. I've mentioned these books a lot, and I do know that sometimes they can be hard to find and expensive, but if you keep your eyes open, like on Amazon, you can often find copies that are used and relatively inexpensive. So you'll want to definitely keep your eyes open for that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to very, very lightly. Now, typically I will, now let me just preface this project with the fact that I am just playing here, and I'm not like, I'm just trying to see what this paper is going to do. And I'm not being overly serious with it, so I'm just kind of really having a play around with this. When you're using this paper, generally you want to start off by doing a sketch on like scrap paper and then transferring it so that you don't have to worry about getting any stray lines on the paper. I'm just, playing around, so I'm not as concerned with it. I just kind of want to play. And the thing is, it's very difficult to remove a line if you decide that you don't want it or you have it in the wrong place. So that's basically what I'm getting at there. So I'm just drawing in this bud here. And I'm using, this is called Peach Beige. I figure I can go over it with whatever color I need to if I need to do anything else. I'm just going to do a little kind of turned over leaf there. I'm going to do a nice big leaf over here. I am kind of a sloppy sketcher, so I have to be really careful not to go outside of where I'm going to end up coloring, because I do want to keep that beige background, because I think it, not beige, maroon background, because I think it works really well with this, so I kind of want to keep that like that. Alright, so I've got a very pale drawing in there. I'm actually going to go in with this peach beige and just add a little bit of the lighter colors that I see. Very, very little pressure. This, you want to turn your pencil as you go if you want to keep that sharp point, because it is going to eat up the pencils pretty quickly. Now I'm going to use this magenta. The Derwent Signature pencils were discontinued a few years ago. They were never available for too long, and I think they were a precursor to the Lightfast range that I really like. But because they're a harder pencil, they actually wear slower, so I think it's really nice for those lower layers in conjunction with the Derwent Lightfast. But I had all my Prismacolors, they're always out on the edge of my table anyway, so I tend to just kind of grab those. Now, I've also got some browns in this area, so I'm going to go in and add a little bit of that. I'm not doing any detail at this point, I'm just blocking in color. You can use solvents on this paper if you want to. You just want to make sure it's completely dry before you go on further. I think you could end up scraping off some of the coating on the paper if you're not careful if you did that, so that's why you don't want to go in when it's wet. It doesn't feel like so much like a sanded paper. What it reminds me of is the paper, like if you've ever bought like pearl cardstock, It reminds me of pearl cardstock. In fact, I kind of want to try my pearl cardstock to see if it feels similar, to see how it would work with colored pencil, because that is way cheaper than Pastelmat. But this is kind of neat because a lot of people have recommended it. I'm adding a little bit of this lime peel green. That's a wonderful color. Prismacolors are so opaque. That's another reason I grabbed the Prismacolors instead of the Derwent Lightfast for the other colors here to go over the signatures, because they're so opaque. I know they would hold up on this really dark burgundy colored paper, and I didn't know if the Lightfast would have enough opacity to really stand up. This is very little pressure, and you can see I'm getting a nice laydown of color. I hope the camera is focusing well. I should have probably put something white on screen to help it white balance. So well, we'll see. We'll see when we edit it how it turns out, I guess. Let's see, we got that little stem up there and this little leaf here, so we can go ahead and put that in with the green. And I'm going to take a Derwent white drawing pencil and put in just the little edges of highlight. It's one of the most opaque pencils. Prismacolor white is also very opaque, very beautiful color. But if you have issues with your Prismacolor breaking, try the Derwent Chinese white and the Derwent drawing Chinese white. This is actually an old one. It doesn't even have the, look how thick that lead is. It doesn't even have the capped ends. This was like, this is a moldy oldie, man. I'm finding all the moldy oldies in my stash today. It's fun though. I love using older supplies because you kind of forgot, you kind of forget, and it's like, oh, these are so great. I totally forgot, I'm going to use a little bit of a pale yellow in here. Now, can you hear how that's making a noise? That's kind of the sound of a drier pencil. Now, drier, harder pencils will leave more of a line, so it's really important that you kind of put those marks down in the direction that like the wrinkles on a petal would go. These are also, I think, will be really good for doing details, like for sharpening and doing a nice detail. They have a really thick core too, so they're also fine for laying down lots of color as well. Now these are not going to be an easy pencil to find. If you happen to have them in your stash, wonderful. I couldn't find much out about them online. I found some like really old reviews, but even not many. I just don't think they were out long enough. They are a little bit, I almost feel like they're a little too hard, but you kind of will put up with some extra stuff knowing that you've got a light fast pencil in your hand, because you don't want your work to fade, especially if you think something's going to come out really well. I mean, not that I'm like putting that sort of pressure on this work today, because I'm just fooling around and playing here, but you do want your work to last. Especially where color pencil can be such a slow medium. That's why I'm only doing one flower here. Alright, I'm going to get a little bit of pink in back here where the yellow and magenta kind of move together. And I can see how this one doesn't make much sound. This is a real soft Prismacolor. And then I'm going to go back in with that magenta. Layer it up a bit. I can go in with this pink signature, and I can blend the pink into the white. Or I could even do that with another color, but I knew that pink wasn't going to lay down too much as I did that. I'm looking at so many magnolias in front of me that I get lost sometimes looking for just the one that I've been working on. I think I'll use some of this pink. Even though there isn't a lot of pink in this one, I want it to have a little bit more pink so it's similar to the other flowers. So I'm going to go ahead and throw some in there. Especially if you're working from several reference photos, having kind of a vision and using the same colors, using the same pencils, the same undertones, tweaking it a little bit so they definitely look like they're from the same plant is really helpful. So don't feel like you have to slavishly follow your reference photos. You really don't want to do that when you are when you're using several, because obviously they're not all going to match. You want them to look like they belong together. And that way it gives you the liberty to use colors that are very different from one another. You could use magnolias that are completely white, and you can tint them to match what you've been working on. All right, I kind of want to blend those together, but I feel like I want them a little bit lighter too. I'm going to go in with a white Prismacolor. It's going to lay me down some nice soft wax to blend into. Hope this isn't boring. It feels like it takes a long time when I'm trying to narrate and talk. I feel like there needs to be more pigment on there though. As I'm coloring it, just when you feel like you can blend, you'll feel this kind of like almost like a slipperiness or greasiness to the paper when it's ready to blend. And I haven't hit that yet. Oh, you hit it earlier on a less textured paper. And I'm not getting these colors to stick on top of my Prismacolors very well because of all the wax. Let's try this Derwent drawing in here. And I put all the colors that I've been using on those little trays, so that so I don't accidentally grab a color I haven't used yet. They're all right there. Alright, I feel like I'm a little bit more ready to blend. I think I want to get a little bit of this brighter pink in here. I'm not sure if this is going to be the paper for me or not for colored pencils. I'm going to try it with pastels too, because that's what it's designed for. And I'm thinking I might prefer it. Now this is a colorless blender pencil. Lots of companies make them. I don't really notice a huge difference in between them, but I don't use them a huge amount. But this is to blend your colors when you don't want to use solvent, or you don't want to use like a lighter colored pencil, because sometimes the lighter pencils will give you a wax bloom, or they'll tint your color too much. I do find this lightens it a little bit. And it's probably just the wax bloom. So now I'm just going to take a soft brush and brush off any of those crumbs. And I'm not really that happy with that blending, so I am going to go into some solvent. I keep my solvent in a little mini mason jar, shot glass type thing with some, what do you call those things? Cotton balls. Cotton balls in there, and then I'll just take out a dirty cotton ball and put a fresh one in when, like, because you get, like, you wipe your brush off to clean it and get some smudge on it. But the cotton balls keep you from getting too, it helps you can wipe your brush to keep it clean, but it also helps you from getting too much. I wasn't really happy with that blend, so I'm just going to use the solvent. I feel like that looks a lot more natural. Alright, we're going to let that dry. And I'm just going to cap this off so it doesn't evaporate. I have gamsol in there, by the way. And I think I'm going to work on, I'm going to move this thing so it's a little bit closer to me. The only thing I don't like about this book is the matte pages. I'm sorry, the glossy pages, because the glare does kind of bother me. after a while. So I'm going to go in with this dark green. There's a really strong shadow, which I think would make sense. You do have to be careful if you do see a strong shadow, make sure it will go with what you're doing. And I don't think, oh, I do have, you know what, I'm going to go in with a darker signature pencil first because I know I can layer the Prismacolor over that, but I won't necessarily be able to go in reversed. I also want to get some of that color back there. I should take Post-it notes and block off the other parts of the page because I keep looking at those other parts of the page and it's going to make me nauseous looking, zipping all over that page like that. So I'm just filling this in like a burnt umber type color. This is actually burnt oxide it's called, but it looks, you know, just kind of a dark brown color. Also want some of that brown in this little area here. It's very dull brown looking. I don't know. It looks like a leaf, but it might not be a leaf, but I am going to add some green to it because I'm going to use this dull green because I feel like it needs to have some green in it. I think it's just too uninteresting and too close to that background color if I don't do green in it. You know what I mean? I think that's better. And I'm not going for a botanical representation, clearly. I'm definitely going for more of a whimsical approach. I'm going to put a little bit of that on the edges. Let's see. I think now I can go in a little bit more firmly with the green. It's all pretty much a flat color up here. It layers really well over the drier pencil underneath. Fat over lean, just like with oil paints. You put the fat colors down first and then you put the leaner colors on top after. The fat colors, the oilier, waxier colors, the softer colors will stick over the harder colors that are underneath. That's what that means. Fat over lean means you have thinner, drier colors underneath and you've got fatter colors on top. Slower, well, it'll be slower drying with oil paint, but it would just be kind of more just fattier and softer on top for dry media. Very lightly indicating some of the veins. Feels dry up top there, so I'm going to go in and add some more detail, especially now that I've got the picture closer to me and I can see it a little bit better. I kind of feel like I want a cream colored pencil. I am going to sharpen this, but I'm going to do it with my electric sharpener, so I'll be right back. Alright, I decided to zoom in a bit as we work here. I'm going to start on this smaller petal in the background. Hopefully my hand's not in the way. I'm going to try to keep everything out of view, and I want to kind of get these like kind of curved strokes going over the edge. And the only downside to a book versus the like a photo on your computer is that you can't zoom in. So I am really just trying to both go with my experience on observing flowers and kind of looking at the picture closely and putting in the details that I see as far as like the way the petals, the texture would kind of wrap around there, and I'm building up the color depth and luminosity here. So I went in with that harder magenta pencil. You can see it's very pigmented, even though it's harder, it's pigmented. Now I am going to go back in with this. This is Wheat. Derwent Drawing Man, they're not that expensive. They are such a wonderful pencil. They're very light fast. There's only 24 colors, so you can get the full set without it, like, you know, totally breaking the bank. I think they're around $2 a pencil. And they're just really nice pencils. Oh, I think I might want a little bit of a purple. I'm going to go with this dark purple, actually. I thought I was going to have some fancy name, like Mystical Aubergine or something like that. No, it's just dark purple. I think the people who name pencils had the day off or something. They call an accountant, can you name this picture? The accountant called somebody in from the accounting department and asked them to name the color. I don't know. It's your time to shine, accountants. Oh, there. That's kind of pretty. And then we got this other teeny little petal back there. That should actually be quite dark. From what I see, it looks very dark. You can't see a lot of that in the picture, but I'm just going to go right in there with that dark purple. And I'm going to keep it dark. I think we'll just kind of trace that petal there. And over here, we have this little one back here. Really, we're not seeing too much of that. I'm going to define it with that dark purple because it's my darkest value color. I don't want to go in there with the black and have it all muddy. And then we'll go in with our, I'm looking at the direction. I'll just show you here. Hopefully it's not too shiny. I'm just kind of looking if I can see the direction that the petals are kind of being twisted and molded by. And it looks to me like they're going upward. Oh, I've got some severe glare going on to my... I'm going to shut off my overhead lights. Be right back. Alright, turned off my overhead lights. I had forgotten to turn them off before I started filming. That's going to help the glare quite a bit, I think. So I want to get this little turned area I see on the back of the flower. It is kind of tough to get a detail on this unless you have that layer of pencil underneath. Otherwise you'll get a very broken line. And let's see, I'm seeing kind of like a wrapping of the petal this way for this section. I'm gonna have to fatten it out a little bit, I think, down here on the bottom. That's all right. I've left room for it, so that's fine. Of course, with a drawing lead, you do lay down thicker strokes because the lead is so thick, and this paper just chews your lead pretty quickly. I'm going to use this signature pencil just because I know I can get a little bit crisper of a line. Then I'm going to go in with a warmer brown Prismacolor Burnt Ochre. That's, oh, that one's burnt oxide. I'm like, huh, they almost have the same name. And I'm going to go, let's see. I think I want some pink in there, and I'm going to use this really soft pink. Oh, that feels good on the paper because it's so nice and blendy. There's also a little bit of green. I think I'll try the signature first. It's funny how it gets so messy and kind of awful looking until you get it all the way blended. And I feel like it does take me a lot longer on the Pastelmat than it would on like Stonehenge. I'm not liking this area up there. I think I need to add a little bit more of the light pink to that, and maybe extend that down a little bit. Let's see, where's that wheat? Something I'm not liking about that. It's such a light, kind of bland colored petal, but I think I'm going to have to add some magenta into it because it just doesn't feel lively enough. I think that's a little bit better. Now I'm going to go back in. Yeah, I think I want to blend that a little bit before I go on to that petal because I'm not really happy with this really dark line I have in there. I think I want to blend it out to that back petal so I can overlap the the petal in front. I'm going to work that pigment into. I don't think I'll go all the way up to the white. Just want to kind of make a nice base for that foreground petal to stand against. Now I'm also going to take that dirty brush, liquefy, and mix into some of this little area here. It'll be interesting to see how this paper does with pastels because I'm not sure if it's for me with a pencil just because of the more time-consuming nature. I got some sanded paper and I like that for pencils pretty well, but I have to say I keep going back to Stonehenge because well, it's more affordable, so I'm not like so precious about it. I think that's probably the main reason. I could use powder blender on this, I imagine, just like I could on the sanded paper, but I kind of wonder, with it being so dark, and the powder blender being kind of like a light powdery, if it would like kind of, you know, on a dark paper make it look kind of cloudy, I don't know. I guess I'll have to, it's supposed to be translucent, translucent, oh my gosh. Oh, it's Monday morning when I'm recording this, so my voice isn't awake yet. Alright, now we'll go back to that. We'll go on to that front petal that we didn't do anything to, so I should be able to avoid any of the wet areas around it, I think. And take a look and see. I'm turning my pencil like I mentioned before just to kind of keep it sharp. Getting those veins and folds worked in there. And start to add a little bit of detail. On these final layers. There's a little bit of green in there too, so I just want to put a little bit of that here and there. Don't want to put it on top of the pink too much, so it'll go brown, which is fine. There can be a little brown in there, but not too much. And I don't know if it needs much more than that. I think I need to go in with more of that wheat color. It does seem to have a little bit more light. It almost looks too light though, doesn't it? I think that might be alright. I'm still feeling like it's lacking some warmth or something. Might just need some browns. Okay, I think I'll go back to this one now. Let's see, hopefully it feels dry. And with this really kind of hard, sharp pencil, I'm just going to go in and add the veins. I had done it very lightly with the darker green earlier. But when you add a solvent, it kind of breaks down the wax, so then you can go in and layer the harder pencils on top again. At least that's been my experience. Using new pencils and new paper to me today, so. So that's fun. I'm not excited. I have no expectations, you know. It's kind of like, yeah, I'm having fun, no expectations. I hope it turns out. After closer inspection, I realized this area here is really not a leaf. It's more of like this this brown husky area. I really should have a yellow ochre. Let me grab some. Squeaky chair today, guys. Well, that's pretty. I like that yellow. I always love yellow ochre. I always feel like it just makes everything better. It's like yellow ochre is like the magic color. You know? It's kind of, it's a little opaque. It's warm. It looks nostalgic. It sweetens your paintings. Oops, I picked up some green. Let's wipe off the tip of that. Yeah, that yellow ochre. That's what it needed, guys. Just need a little bit of warming up of yellow ochre. And I think I might do that on some of these other ones too, because what's good for the goose is good for the gander. What's good for the bud is good for the magnolias, the open magnolias. Oh yeah, it's sweetening it up. Sweetening it up. Adding some sugar. That looks nicer. Well, you know what? I was feeling like this looked really cold. I was feeling like these other flowers looked a little too cold, and I think that's why they didn't have any yellow ochre. And that yellow, I think, really balances out the purples. Yeah, I think that's what it needed. Actually, I think this could use a little bit more up here. Yeah, because I really didn't have any yellow ochre in the other ones, because that's why I didn't have it in the tray, so I must not have. And I really saw that color in that last flower, but I want these to all match, so I'll go in through and add just a little bit. Warm these guys up, and if I get too much I can always go over it with a little bit of white and tone it down a bit. I was also feeling like this was a little too grainy in here, so that'll help. We'll get the yellow ochre in there, then I can blend over a little bit of white or something. White or light pink or something like that. If you had used fixative previously, you might have a difficult time blending this in, although I don't know why you would want to or need to on Pastelmat, because it's so toothy. Even with Prismacolors, you can get a lot of layers, and I typically don't layer with Prismacolors that much. We'll do a little yellow ochre on that too. on the highlights in here. Now at this point I'm not even looking at the reference photo really, I'm just kind of like looking at my composition as a whole. What does it need? Yeah, the Prismacolor white's also very cold. It's a very cold white. So if something feels like a little discordant, it could just be that you've got your white's too cold or your white's too warm. Something's amiss that way. I'm going to go in with some of that white though and perk up my highlights on this bud so they match the others a little bit more. I think the Prismacolor white might be a little bit colder than the Derwent white. Yeah, it is. I feel like the Prismacolor is a little bit more of a blue tint, but I'd used it on the other one, so I want to use it on this too. I'm going to blend that in with wheat because I got a little overzealous and went off the edge there of that flower. I'm gonna fix that, don't worry. We'll just make that guy a little bit plumper, a little bit more ready to burst open. A little more magenta. That got a little too bright. I think a lot of like my process is actually making a mistake and then like fixing it. You know, I feel like it could be much more efficient if I didn't do that so much. Alright, let's take a little of that yellow ochre, a little more of that, and work it into this petal. We'll go in with some of that lime peel again. I don't want to see the grain of the paper. And, oh goodness, I'm so glad I have a cushioned floor because that Prismacolor pink just took a tumble, and you know Prismacolors, they do not like to be dropped. So I've been using, I gotta take that sharpening tray off of there. So I have room for my pencils, my tray, so they don't roll away. Adding a serrated edge there. Adding some highlights next to the veins. Go up with a serrated edge with this wheat. Just turning my pencil so I can get a sharp enough edge so it'll show. And up here as well. Alright, I'm going to take a little break, I think, and when we come back, we'll finish that bud up. Boy, that's taking a long time, guys. Alright, gave my eyes a little break. What I'm not liking here is I've got too big of a gap between those two petals, so I'm going to try to close that a little bit. And also maybe add a little bit more character to this line. So I'm going to just try to bring it over a little bit more and just have it overlap. And see how that will look. It just felt too separate. Some of the yellow ochre in here. Don't be afraid to, I mean, I know this paper is not really designed for reconstruction. It's more for like, you know, draw it right the first time or transfer it right the first time and then go in and color it and not have so many reworkings. But I also don't want to leave something there that isn't right that's going to bother me. So, and now after we've done that, we just need to integrate it. Let's just trace the outline there. Go in with our magenta. Oh, I think that's going to be all right. I think I want it just a little bit. I don't want to have a gap, but I want that back a little bit warmer. Maybe even a little bit in the foreground too, but I just want to have a little bit of that white highlight. There. To me that looks a lot better. Probably doesn't look that much different to you, but it was bugging me. It was bugging me. Alrighty. Of course, I just got new glasses. Did I mention I got new glasses? I ordered some new glasses, and I've just been having them since, I think they came Friday. And I don't wear glasses all the time. I wear them when I work. I wear them when I'm on the computer. But you know when you get new glasses, it takes you a little while to get used to them, and you can feel kind of like almost a little sick to your stomach at first. I have astigmatism, and you know, so there's a little bit of a depth perception issue with stigmatisms, and yeah, you just kind of feel a little sick to your stomach when you're getting used to new glasses. I imagine anybody with new glasses, but I say definitely if you have astigmatism, it would bother you. Let's see. Not really that thrilled with this leaf here. I'm just going to blend over with that lime peel to try to get rid of some of the grain that I'm seeing and get that white integrated a little bit better. I do like how the white pops on this paper though. It's really nice. Okay, so something I did while I was taking a break is I sketched in, I'm just going to zoom out a little bit. I sketched in some branches. So what I did actually on this flower, there was like a little branch design here that I liked a lot. And I also felt like I needed to connect. I needed to make some sort of like framework for these flowers. So that's what I did. I just pulled in some branches and leaves and another little bud there. So I'm just going to go ahead and color those just like I did. You know, nothing fancy. I'm just going to go in. I'm going to fill in with, this is burnt ochre. So frame. I'm just going to leave it kind of broken at the edge. I would like it just to kind of be vignetted almost. I also thought about maybe taking some, I don't know, stamps or something and stamping just some like text in the background with some like cream colored ink, or I don't know. I haven't like, I feel like I just want some texture, but I'm not sure what. So then this might be one of those situations where I let it, this bud has some brown on it. It's really immature bud. Yeah, so I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to finish it. I'll probably just set this on my easel and think about it for a while. I was just thinking about today, it's like I used to always paint at an easel. That was like how I always painted. I never sat down to paint, and I realized that that's because it was before YouTube. And it was just so much, it's a lot easier to have like a place you sit and stay when you paint, so that your camera can, you know, you don't have to worry about going out of the shot. And then you just I've gotten used to it, so I haven't really used my easel much. And I brought my easel into my new office, thinking, oh, I'm going to use the easel so much more now. And no, it just sits there with, I put my most current work on it so I can evaluate it and figure out if I need to change anything. It's more of decoration than something I actually use. I imagine if I found a good way to film at my easel, but it's like then I've got to worry about my arm being in the way more than usual, or my head being in the way, or my back being in the way. Something's going to be in the way. And, you know, I probably wouldn't notice it until after I'd already filmed a bunch. I know, first world problems. YouTube problems. Artist problems. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and just give all these leaves a very loose coating. And the other reason I'm going real loose with these and the branches and stuff is because I don't want to compete with the flowers that much. I want those to be a little bit more subdued and out of focus, I guess. It is nice how like quickly you can lay down color. It does chew your pencil down pretty quick though. But this is a Prismacolor. These are relatively inexpensive. Well, I should say comparatively to, you know, Derwent Light Fast or some of the other ones that I use. Sorry, my hand's in the way. The other thing I've noticed about sanded paper and this paper too is that it wants to curl up on you. I don't know why that is, but it seems to like to curl. Try this one. This is a little bit harder of a pencil. Actually, I don't really like the feeling of that over the Prismacolor. I'm going to grab a dark, oh, I got one right here, dark green Prismacolor. Oops. Gotta get used to those glasses, just grabbed a completely different color. I can simultaneously, with the Prismacolors, feel the grip of the Pastelmat and the glide of the wax. It's kind of a nice, feeling actually, because I've got that control from the paper, which is keeping my keeping my pencil from going off the rails, like sliding all over the place. But it's also, but I can also feel the glide of the Prismacolor. Let's see, this one is kind of a little bit more cupped, so I'm going to have a little more dark in there. I'm just being really expressive. I'm not looking at any particular leaf while I'm doing this. I'm just kind of... Actually, what it is, guys, I get bored. I love working with colored pencils, but I tend to get bored pretty easily, so with the amount of time it takes. I feel like that needs a little green in it. I also want some darker brown on the branch. Something's still bugging me about that bud. And I don't know how long those two flowers took me, because I kind of like picked away at them, and I'm thinking maybe I spent a lot more time blending on those, and I was like, I probably had like a podcast on or something. I was distracted, and so I was just kind of like in the zone and not like thinking about the time. And I'm very acutely aware of the time when I'm filming, because it's like, oh, I don't want to take too long. So I probably spent a lot more time on those. I'm just doing some shadow around the edges of these branches to make them look a little bit more cylindrical, a little more three-dimensional. I'm going to grab a little bit of magenta in there. Even though that bud is pretty young, I still want a little color in there. All right, I'm going to take a sharpening break, and I think I might try to develop this a little bit more, and then when we come back, I'll finish it up, because it's taking like 1.5 years. All right, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Gosh, I should have done that before I turned on the camera. Oh my word, guys, this picture. It's going to be the bane of my existence. Hey, rue the day. Rue the day, friends, that I started this, and the white balance doesn't want to balance, so maybe that white pencil will help. Oh, guys. Okay, so I did find out a neat way to make these leaves look the way they wanted to, or at least good enough. I'm going to start off with a hard pencil, this Derwent Signature in rutile green hue. And I am doing the serrated edge first, and I'm just kind of turning my pencil as I go so I can get that nice... I don't need a continuous sharp line, but I do want it like the light. You know how the light kind of just will catch edges? That's what I want to go for there. And I'm doing that right off the bat. These hold a point really well. Of course, you can't get these anymore, so this is just going to be the most frustrating videos for all involved, because people are going to be like, oh, I want those pencils, or it's taking forever. Sorry, guys. Sketchbook Sunday, right? Sketchbook Sunday is whatever I'm working on to either learn something new, try something new, increase my skills, challenge myself, and well, this definitely is doing all of those things. I used dark green, which I think is actually called dark green. It is, actually. I think they got the accountants to name that one as well. The color namer must have been out sick that day. And I am, but no offense if you're an accountant, my goodness, total respect for that job. Gotta send my tax stuff out to my accountant today, or sometime this week rather. Yeah, I'm just teasing. I'm not like making fun of accountants. I think that's awesome. I wish I was good at math. Wish I had one of those marketable skills. Alright, so I'm just adding some shadows in with a dark green, and right now it looks just kind of bland and blah. Well, that's where our sweet, sweet sugar yellow ochre comes in. And we're going to just go and blend the yellow ochre, warm things up, transition those colors, and life is good. Now, if you want more highlight, you can go in with that first pencil that we used, that really hard green, and you can kind of drag some of those colors in from the edge. It's not going to be super pronounced because this is a harder pencil. It's not going to have as easy a time to layer up and stick over the Prismacolors because they are really waxy. You've got kind of a highlight next to the vein here, so if I just draw, kind of lightly draw in the vein, I can pull in, the center vein, I can pull in color out to the right hand side, and I can do it kind of a slight curve motion to help give that leaf a little plumpness, and then I can also bring in the highlight from the edge just to give it a little bit of like a fold or a cupped feel to it. Now if I want to do that with a dark green, rather than using a dark Prismacolor, I can go in with one of these darker signature pencils, because it's almost like I just need to almost carve more than color. It's like I need to scrape and carve in like a sculptor is carving into marble, carve in those details. Now as I say this, I want to preface that I am, you know, I play with colored pencils. I don't consider myself like a colored pencil artist. I consider myself more of a watercolor artist, or even mixed media artist. But colored pencil is something I really enjoy, and I've been using them for a long time, but I don't use them in the proper method that, like, you know, proper colored pencils artists do. I don't spend months on a painting. I don't spend hours on one area of a painting. That's just not the way that I work. So I definitely would recommend not getting all of your color pencil education from me, because it would be very much lacking. I want to get, there's like kind of like little, it looks like the bush has been pruned there. So I just kind of colored that in with that light beige color, that peachy beige I think it's called. I just kind of went like in a circle, very light circle formation. And I think I'm going to take one of the dark, do I even have one pulled? I think I can, that's kind of a green, but I think that will work. I think the value's right, oxide green. I'm going to try just kind of like, yeah, doing circles like this, so I get kind of like the rings, and then I can go back in with a lighter color. Let's try this wheat. and just kind of do that again. And then I want something a little bit warmer, so I think I'll do this burnt oxide, which is the same color as the branch, so I gotta be careful that I don't make it too similar. And then go back in with that beige color. And now this one is a really slick layer, and it's kind of blending everything together, and I think that works. I think that works all right. Maybe it's too light. Let's go. Oh, I think that's about right. So I went in with that oxide green again. I think that was oxide green. Yep. And I'm just kind of going over it. You kind of scrape and push, and it just like blends. It also gives you a little bit of definition. It's not like it's not crazy. It's not a lot of definition. It's just a little something. And then I can go in and get like an end with my white if I feel like I want to. Like I mentioned, I didn't want to do a ton to the branch and leaves here. I just wanted to give it a little bit of just enough detail to be a kind of supporting area. I'm going to do the same thing here that I did before, but probably even less because it's just a small little leaf. So less detail, just kind of fill in the grain a little bit. And take this darker, oh, that's that dark green, the dark green again, man, that's, no, oxide green rather. Gotta get used to these glasses. Yeah, it's not dark enough to make a difference on the branch. Maybe I'll go in with a little bit of my Prismacolor black and just a little bit of a shadow at the bottom of these branches just to help break them away because they're really close in value to the paper. Not that I really mind that, but I just feel like it needs, it needs a little bit, good grief, let's zoom out. It needs a little bit of definition there. Not a lot. I don't know if I'll be able to, oh, I think I might be able to get that, where I dropped the pencil and it, and it left a mark. I think it's fine. I'm not going to be too particular on this where it is just kind of like me learning about this paper and messing around. I don't want to get too precious. I don't think I learn a lot. If I started off with a very perfect sketch that I transferred down, I'd probably end up with I'd definitely end up with a better painting, but I probably wouldn't learn as much because I wouldn't be taking risks. I wouldn't be experimenting so much. And I always say you either succeed or you fail. I mean, you either succeed or you learn. There's no failing. Oh, I can't even get my own sayings right today. I slept like 9 hours last night, and I was tired. I was still tired when I woke up. I'm thinking, man, maybe I needed like another couple hours. I usually sleep plenty too. It's not like I was catching up or anything. But, yeah, I'm just kind of dancing around because I don't want to finish one part like way too much and then realize that was overworked. I just want to have enough just to kind of make those three flowers come to life. I like little bits of the light sketch where I drew with the wheat color showing through, but I don't want it everywhere. So I'm gonna touch over that with some of the brown. You could even do that with the burgundy, I bet. I think I like that. But I think I also need to do a little bit more to that. I don't know if my squeaky chair is showing up or is coming out on the camera or not, but man, I just feel like I'm just like creak, creak, creak. Well, let me see if I can point this pencil in this little sharpener here. I think I can. I think I'm about due for a new electric sharpener. Mine doesn't seem to be giving me a nice point on my color pencils. It'll give a decent point on a graphite pencil, but recently I'm noticing it's not like pointing my colored pencil, and I don't know why that would be. Why would it sharpen? And it's always sharpened my pencils. Why would it not sharpen my colored pencils all of a sudden, but still sharpen graphite? And I'm not great about remembering to put a regular pencil through it. So I actually kind of tried to do it all at once, and I brought in a bunch of pencils that needed sharpening, including a graphite stick to try to lubricate it. but I don't know, it's acting like it's dull or something, but it's a helical blade. It's not like a blade you replace. So I'm hoping that it'll just kind of snap out of it. Snap out of it, pencil sharpener. I got work to do, right? Sometimes you just got to keep building up color and building up color and building up color until you get the colors as lovely as you want them. That made no sense. This might end up being, I was like, oh, I'll do this in real time. This is going to be so long. This is going to be one of those sleeping videos. We got the entertaining videos, we got the sleeping videos. Oh, I think that might be alright. I gotta brush away some debris. Oh great, this guy right there, that's needing something. That's in need of a little highlight or something. I'm going to use this beige color. I'm going to sharpen it though before I attempt to do any sort of detail. My classy ashtray here, sharpen over that. Man, I think it's about time for a new blade on this guy too. Oh, that's a nice sharpen. I tend to use the larger hole sharpener, and then I just kind of angle my pencil if I need to get it really nice and sharp. When I just need to do those, just that pointed a little bit. Oh, that'd be all right. Kind of wish I had a larger photo here that I was working from for this bud. I want to get the fuzzy texture there, so I'm just like kind of turning my pencil and just tapping in that, like, it's like a fuzz. That's all I can. You know how plants can have that fuzziness to them sometimes, especially leaves on like berry bushes. It seems like raspberry bushes. It seems like they all have that like fuzz on the leaves, that kind of almost Velcro-like feeling. That's what I want to get there. I'll highlight with this color too. This is a nice color. Prismacolor has some really beautiful colors in the really pale and muted tones. What's this one called again? Peach beige. That's just such a really pretty color. Peach beige, yeah. Yeah, one of the other reasons I don't want to brush like crumbs away is that I think it could catch the texture of the paper and like give me a really bad smudge. Cat hair in my needed eraser. So that's why I use the brush, because I know that's not going to give it enough oomph to do that. I'll highlight that branch. This is a nice highlight branch color too. I don't have that big of an issue with the breakage in Prismacolors. This branch actually is spotted, so if you want to do some like dots on it, you can. I think it's kind of nice actually. I like that. You can hear the kids upstairs playing. Alright. Now I'm feeling that these leaves might need a little bit more detail too. This could be, yeah. I don't know if that's enough to give those detail, if that's bright enough or not. You know what? I think that's pretty much done. There's not really a lot that I feel like I need to do to this. Really, I think it's pretty well set. There you go. What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. Definitely think the pastel mat is going to take a little getting used to. I'm going to try it with pastels just because I think that might actually be my preferred medium on it, but I love trying new things. I love trying new papers and seeing how they react. So there you have it. Thanks for watching. Please give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this, and I hope you get your pencils out and you have a play with them today. Thanks for watching. Until next time, happy crafting.